What is going on, everyone? If you are watching on X, you're seeing this for the second time. We did have small technical difficulties, but that is okay. We're here. We're live now. Bitcoin and crypto plunged over the weekend. Yes, crypto crash, absolutely a word that we should be using here. But guess what? As we are talking right now, Bitcoin is back up above 102,000. Altcoins are making some big moves. It's a great day to be invested in crypto. Hopefully, you guys hodled on even through all of the chaos. We're going to break that chaos down for you, explain what happened, why are we pumping so heavily today, and what does the future look like? Is this crypto crash over, or is this, still more chaos coming? Make sure to stick around all the way to the end of the show. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, but first, we got to roll an intro. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Investing Bros live show. Smay, how are you doing today? Everything good in your hood?
Everything's great in my hood except for obviously
Luka Doncic. Yeah.
that's correct. I mean, obviously I'm not a Dallas fan. I have this because I'm a Luka fan, and unfortunately they've sent Luka to the dark side, and I now can never root for Luka anymore. So that
Sad.
sucks. Stream technology. Am I right, guys? For you X people, you know what I'm talking about. But with that, Tim, how are you doing?
I've been better. I'm still feeling a little under the weather. I went live this morning with our Discord group, and I told them I didn't know if I was going to make it 3 p.m. or not. I'm here. I'm alive. We're going to have a show. I've been feeling better, definitely in my past. I was going to say, it's crazy how the Luka news popped, and then everyone in the crypto space, it got overshadowed by the crypto crash. I mean, everyone who's an NBA fan and a crypto fan is like, oh, what happened with Luka? And then all of a sudden crypto crashes. Is like, who cares about Luka anymore? Am I right? Anyway, that's my take on it. T-Shroom, the man, the myth, the legend, the hodler. Did you hodl this weekend? How you doing, my friend?
Not only did I hodl, Tim, I also picked up some cryptos as well. Maybe we'll talk about which ones I picked up later in the stream, but I'm better than I deserve, Tim. I'm doing great. Had a great Q&A today. Thank you so much for everybody who jumped in. Benji, Dinomite, and many others. If you're looking to, take that next step and ask questions about crypto, join our free Discord, and the link's down below. And you get to have question and answer sessions with myself and Tim and Crux all week long.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we got a lot of charts. Got a lot of charts to look through today. Today is going to be a fun show. Got a lot of news. Got a lot of charts. If you guys want to see us go long, guess what you have to do? You have to smash the like button. If you guys aren't smashing the like button, or if you guys are leaving midstream, we're not going to go along. But if we have like a buttload of viewers at the end of 4 o'clock, we might extend the stream today. But that's up to you guys. You got to smash like. You got to make sure you stick around to the end. Before we get into charts, though, let's get into our quick 1-minute rundown of the news with T-Shroom. T-Shroom, what do you got for us today?
All right. Yeah, let's jump on into it. Over here, Trump's World Liberty Financial Project just bought 220 million ETH. This brings its total $220 million worth of ETH, I should say. This brings its total ETH holdings to 420 million. If you know, you know. That's where it's fun. Now we're going to get into some serious headlines. President Donald Trump said he reached an agreement with Mexico to pause U.S. tariffs, that is, for 1 month in exchange for Mexico deploying 10,000 troops on its northern border to stop the flow of drugs and enforce border security. President Trump is considering a 10% tariff on imported goods from the EU. President Trump signs executive order to create a sovereign wealth fund. What assets may this sovereign wealth fund include, you may ask? We'll get to that later in the stream. I got a big modification to our schedule tomorrow because President Trump's crypto czar, David Sachs, is going to be holding a press conference tomorrow, February 4th, at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time to discuss securing America as the leader in the digital asset ecosystem. You guys can join us tomorrow. Again, that's 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The press conference starts at 2:30, but obviously we'll go 30 minutes early to preview that. There's more in the news. Let me know in the comments, what am I missing here? But these are the most important headlines that I'm seeing that are moving the markets. We'll get into all of those here in just a few minutes. But now we got to look at the charts. Popping off
Yeah,
on
I'm
the
excited.
chart.
Very excited about that. Again, tomorrow, make sure you guys are tracking that note. Tomorrow's live show will be at 2 p.m. because we are going to be covering that press conference live. Some big things could happen in that press conference.
That's right.
What we might discuss a little bit later on here in the show. But let's get into some details here. Let's take a look at my charts. Let's start off with the bubbles here. It's still a lot of red on here, right? There was a lot of blood that happened last night, especially last night right before 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to talk about that in just a couple minutes on the chart. So not every coin is back in the green, but there are a couple of them. None bigger, though, than Fart Coin. I mean, the fact that this is still here and in the top 100, it does amaze me. You got to be a little bit impressed with Fart Coin at this point. But Ondo, Mantra, Mantle, Ray, Hype, Dexa, Ian, just so many coins that are pumping back up. And guess what? By the end of the day, I bet a lot of green is going to be in these bubbles. And it's the reason why is because what we're about to look at on the chart. So if you guys are ready, prepare, because we're going to look at some. The word of the day today is Wix. Wix. Everyone write that down. Type it in chat. I want to see 1 million comments saying Wix. The word of the day, Wix. Let's go look at those Wix over here. Starting off with Bitcoin, we're here on the daily chart. And like I said, while we have retraced a little bit since the start of the show, we start off with a bang back up above $102,000. You will see this wick, again, word of the day here. We're going to talk about this a lot here. You see this gnarly wick coming back down into a support zone that we actually had been tracing, with the exception of this one last good fake out on January 13th. We had held this level of support since November on Bitcoin. Well, guess what? We pulled back down to that buying zone that's been bought up once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, now make it 8. 8 amazing buying opportunities in the world of $90,000. We wicked about down to $91,100. $91,150 was where we bottomed out. But now you're starting to see as we go to these lower time frames. Again, wicks. But what I love to see with these wicks is the volume increase. I thought that this volume increase on the dip the other day on, was this Friday was the 31st? Or was Saturday the 31st? I think Friday. I thought that this was a pretty good wick that showed a good bottom position on Friday. You can see a small bounce, bullish divergence, faked a lot of people out. Got just demolished with this large pullback. What's this pullback all about? Well, of course, the top up here, if you guys are looking at the chart, this right here, let me use an arrow. Donald Trump announces that there was fake news out there that he was waiting until March for tariffs. He said, no, we're starting tomorrow, Saturday, the 1st. There will be tariffs happening. Bitcoin would plunge down roughly 4% within a couple of hours, okay? Got a nice volume bottom. A lot of people bought this dip, convincing myself and others that might have been the pullback. I mean, you're pulling back down to a former level of resistance. You're wanting to retrace it. That's what would have made a lot of sense. Well, guess what? Then you get over here, and you look at this little bad boy right there. That is when the Prime Minister of Canada, good old Trudeau, put a heart in chat if you just love Trudeau. If he's just like one of your favorite people in the world, put a heart in chat there. He announces that they're retaliating Canada against the United States, and they themselves would institute 25% tariffs on American goods. That is what started a cascading downward effect where Bitcoin lost so many support levels, smashed through lower time frame support and buy signals. Let's get rid of these bad boys because they're now just taking up some space. If you were to go in and look at our charts, we just lived all of Saturday, all of Sunday in this oversold buy zone situation that just convinced a lot of people to take a dive at it. I'll be the first to admit, I bought Bitcoin when I saw sub 100,000. I bought some other things when I saw a lot of low prices. I got wrecked on some of my trades this weekend. I understand that, and I'm here to admit it. Don't get everything perfect. But what I did tell people over the weekend, and we had a special live show yesterday where I said, listen, a lot of people were afraid that the Asian markets and the American markets on Monday would implode on this recent news. And I warned people, don't be surprised if it gets a little worse. When we did the live show, we were hovering here around 96,000. I said, don't be surprised if it goes lower. But my best guess is that all of this FUD that people are spewing that the markets needed to crash at the Asian market open was a sell the rumor, buy the news type of event. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the Asian markets opened here in the United States around 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's take a look at what that 9 o'clock candle looked like in the Asian markets open. You're going to be looking right here at this white candle right there in the middle. Do you notice something about this candle? Gnarly wick to the downside, high volume, and then boom, we shoot back up. And even though we retraced a little bit lower, this candle marked the bottom perfectly. You want to know what that means, ladies and gentlemen? That means all day Saturday and Sunday, people freaked out and sold off their crypto, made it super cheap, and allowed Asian markets to buy the exact bottom of this movement. We would shoot up before American open. We'd shoot all the way back up to $96,000. Very good. But you can see that level, that red line right there. That's just back to a former level of support. Now we've turned it into resistance once again. How did we respond this morning when the American markets opened? Let's go in here and let's take a look at the 9 o'clock window for America. Oh, would you look at that? The bottom of that pullback and the start of a massive explosion. What's the moral of the story here? The moral of the story, ladies and gentlemen, is if you do not believe in manipulation, manipulation believes in you because it believes in your fear. It believes that you're the type of person, if you hear some bad news, you're going to freak out and sell off. And they did exactly that, causing Bitcoin to crash. Let's go look at here. Causing Bitcoin to crash 14%, causing several altcoins to crash almost, if not over 50%, all the while those markets, the wealthy people, the people that actually control how things work, they bought the dips perfectly. And retail's just left crying with their sell orders, and it's too late to go back in. Now, you can go back in. It's not too late. I don't know why I said it's too late. You definitely can go back in. But that's the story. That is a story of what happened yesterday. It's a story as old as time. But you know what's crazy is you don't even have to look years ago to see this situation. We can go years, but like you don't have to be trading for 10, 15, 20 years to see this story. We have seen this story time after time after time. We saw it happen right back here not that long ago, back in January, where we had a nice little sell-off here. In fact, this actually percentage drop might have been, it's not quite as large, but pretty large drop here on Bitcoin with manipulation, 13%. If you go back into the summer of 2024, remember when they told us that the Asian markets were collapsing, that Japan was collapsing, the Chinese carry trade would take us over? We would have Bitcoin drop 30% on FUD. And guess what happened? Gnarly wick, high volume. That was them buying at the dip. And then boom, we were back up to the upside. Now we had a little retracement. We came down a little lower here, but again, the bottom was in on that pullback. You go back to other times. We get a sell the news event from the launch of the Bitcoin ETF. We start dropping. The bears try to convince you, saying, guys, don't fall for it. The Bitcoin ETF was a fake out. We're now plunging below 10,000. Well, a lot of people did capitulate, and we sent price to the upside. I could show you over and over and over and over the greatest of them all. And I'm not saying this was fake news because it wasn't. It was a black swan event. But go back to 2020. Look at this COVID candle that bottomed out, and within 2 days, boom, we reached a bottom, and Bitcoin and crypto would shoot off to all-time highs over the next couple of months. The overall point here, if you guys have been watching our channel, we have been very, very steadfast, very, very confident, very, very vocal that the bull market is far from over. But what you do have to prepare yourself for in these seasons is seasons of manipulation. Seasons where what we call the composite man shake out the retail investor, trying to convince you to sell, all the while the bull market not being anywhere close to over is just going to continue on without you. Do not fall for it. Do not fall for the chaos. This is a very classic story. I want to make sure I prepare you guys. If anyone's sitting here saying, whew, so glad I went through that. Glad that's the last time that's ever going to happen. As I just show you through history, this happens very frequently. It's only the brave. It's only the people who understand that you buy when there's blood in the streets that end up winning this game. If you can learn this game, you can become a very wealthy individual. If you do not win this game and you continue to think that the news media is telling you the truth with every article they put out, if you continue to think that you don't need to understand technical analysis and how to read what's happening, if you want to just trade off of whims and momentum and sentiment, be my guest, but you're going to lose a lot of money. You're going to sell way too early. You're going to buy way too late. This is something you have to go ahead and just deal with right now and say, you know what? Manipulation is here. It's present. It's not going anywhere. It's going to be around for a long time. So other than that, not a whole lot else I want to look at here on Bitcoin. I will say before we dive into the news, because a lot of juicy stories in the news, I was telling the Discord group this morning during our private live stream, I was right, but I was wrong on something over here on the Bitcoin dominance chart. I was wrong, and I'm going to say I was wrong overall, but I was wrong because I honestly believed after this big dip we had in December that altcoin season had started. It was the right time for it to start when you track how the 4-year cycle works. There was a nice momentum shift with the biggest drop we'd seen on Bitcoin dominance in a long time. I thought that was the top. I was wrong. We exploded last night all the way up here to 64.3% dominance on Bitcoin. Now, I will say, if you guys were tracking with us way back here in October, I told you guys there's a chance we ended up going 63, 64. Little did I know we just have a massive crash in between there. But that right there, I'm not promising. I can't say anything for certain. I was wrong before, so I could be wrong again. But that is another, what's the word of the day, everybody? Wick. This is a gnarly wick to the upside. And we're picking up some big, big volume here as altcoins go nuts. Want to know and see the gist of how crazy altcoins went? Let's do some very quick altcoin TA. We'll come back and circle back. Ethereum, massive wick. Big, big, big wick. Ethereum in the last 3 days dropped 35%. Absolutely crazy down to these lows here around 2,100. Let's take a look at Solana. Solana plummeted back below $200 from the all-time highs we had just over a week and some change ago. Solana dropped here in the world of 40% in the last couple of days since the tariff news. If I can grab this correctly, we saw Solana drop 26%, but that's not even the worst of it. Look at some of these other altcoins that I still believe are very, very, very valuable for the future. You have Chainlink over here dropping 40% in a not so not so long of a time frame. You have ONDO over here, which we're going to talk more ONDO later. ONDO dropping 40% itself. Cardano, Cardano. If you had told me a couple of days ago that I could have bought Cardano at 50 cents again, I would have called you crazy. But that's exactly what happened. Cardano fell almost 50%, 48% to the downside. But you can see a lot of things jumping. There's so many other coins. XRP plummeted. It might have had one of the worst crashes of all of these. It was down 43% within the last couple of days. Again, over 50%, almost 50% from those all-time highs. What's the moral of the story? The moral of the story is Wix tell us a story, and the wicks, these gnarly wicks, mark manipulation bottoms that you do not want to ignore whatsoever. We're going to come back and do a lot of technical analysis. We'll look at SUI. I see people asking for SUI TA, ONDO TA. We're going to take a look at a lot of those, but I wanted to show you the gist of what's happening in the markets right now, and then let's get into the news. Let's discuss the details that happened this weekend and what the future looks like. For that, I'm going to throw it over to my man T. Shroom. T. Shroom, go ahead and take it away.
Absolutely, Tim. Well, the latest and potentially the greatest headline is this, and it's very optimistic. Trump's World Liberty Financial just bought $220 million worth of ETH, and it brings their holdings much, much higher to $420 million worth of ETH. So that's bullish for the coin that had a big correction over the weekend. Now, this is kind of raising questions. Why ETH? Why Aave is another coin that Trump World Liberty Fi project has also bought. And I think that you have to kind of conclude, well, he knows something. He knows something that perhaps, folks who are overinvested in other altcoins don't know. What that is, we don't know. But I think sleeping on ETH or swapping a bunch of ETH for something else may not be the best move, because Trump has been consistent in participating in that ecosystem, or at least World Liberty Financial has. Tim, what do you think about the project World Liberty Fi's allocation consistently over time, whether it be through ETH directly or into Aave, those investments in the ETH ecosystem? Do you think he's trying to signal something to the market? Do you think his team's trying to signal something to the market, or do you think they're just doing what they have to do to operate their NFT collections and stuff that's on ETH?
I absolutely think it's something not to ignore. I will say it is one of the reasons why I haven't given up hope on ETH. But I'll tell you this, they're not the only ones. We've heard in recent times people like Larry Fink from BlackRock. Of course, we watched Trump's Liberty DeFi purchasing Ethereum. Institutional money is clearly still interested in Ethereum. They clearly still want to use it. That's why I haven't given up on ETH. I'm not ready to say that I think that XRP or Solana will pass ETH in this bull market. It's definitely a possibility at this point. I do think Ethereum needs to fix some things internally. But I would say people shouldn't sleep on that move, that it's still being bought up by a lot of institutional money. The thing with Ethereum is it's been a sleeper. It hasn't been the greatest coin. It's had some rallies here and there, but it could wake up at any moment. It is still the largest altcoin out there by double. I mean, if you were to look, let's go take a look at coin market cap right now, just to look at how it's closed up. You know, a couple of weeks ago, it was almost triple, but you still see XRP could 2x right this second and still not be larger than Ethereum's market cap here. Again, $155 billion XRP market cap, $330 billion market cap for Ethereum, okay? Now, am I losing hope that Ethereum is going to go to some of the levels we talked about in the channel before? Yeah, I absolutely am losing hope that Ethereum can have as truly special of a bull market as I once thought. I still think, though, it can make its way over $1 trillion in market cap. I still think a 3x from here is extremely doable. The question is, once we get there over a 3x, how much higher can we go? That's something I want to see come out. But with Trump buying it, with BlackRock still endorsing it, with it being the one of only 2 crypto-based ETFs, spot ETFs in America right now, that is still something you should not discredit. It has institutional backing. It has institutional interest. And I'll tell you right now, the name of the game moving forward, I'm not saying you can't make a quick buck here and there on something like a meme coin or a small cap, but we are watching very much so the cryptos that have institutional interest are starting to separate from the rest of the pack. If you ever watch, you go off my screen now, Smay. If you ever watch us talk about the same like 10 coins over and over and over again, well, we are constantly talking about the 10 coins that absolutely seem to have the most institutional interest. And with this being an institutional bull market, we just witnessed what institutions are capable of in terms of shaking retail out. This is your cue, especially if you're new to crypto. If you're experienced, you guys do whatever you want. But if you're new, I heavily urge you, keep it simple. Don't try to get crazy. You don't need to hold 50-something altcoins. That's a lot to track. It's a lot to be worried now. Focus on the coins that you know big money wants to buy. And if big money wants to buy, that's a coin that's going to go to the upside. It's the simplest investment strategy you can have. Buy what the wealthy wants to buy. Hold it long-term. Time in the market will always beat out timing the market. That's my free advice of the day if you're newer to crypto investing. But yeah, I haven't, long story short, I haven't given up on ETH whatsoever, but I do think there's a lot of questions we still need to answer there. And I'll tell you this, we're going to look at this from others. Last thing I'll say here, and then I'll throw it back to T-Shroom. Let's take a look at Ethereum real quick. If you guys watched our show, I think it was on Friday. I can't remember if it was Thursday or Friday, but we mentioned certain coins that I had concern for. Coins like AVAX, coins like Caspa, coins like Injective. I put Ethereum on the fringe. I didn't say it was over. I just said, hey, this concerns me. And what I said was Ethereum barely, by the skin of its teeth, outdid the highs from back in March, right? The coins that I put in that listing did not. The recent December highs did not go higher. There's a trend that I'm seeing with every single coin that I mentioned. Look where the Wix went last night. The Wix came down here to $2,151, lower than the November lows when Trump was announced president. So Ethereum temporarily, again, is back up now, but temporarily the price went even lower than when Trump was when Trump was elected president of the United States. If you look at coins, I'll show you one that's a good one. Chainlink was all the way down here at $10.41. Didn't come even close with this wick down to $15. But if you look at the ones I was concerned about, AVAX dipped to $21. It was $22.70 when Trump was elected president. Caspa, some exchanges I heard went all the way to 5 cents, but I have 7.6 cents. Caspa was 10.5 cents when Trump was elected president. Injective went all the way down here to $11.30. It was only $16.26 when Trump was elected president. What's my overall point here? I warned you guys earlier this week, last week, these coins They're not as healthy as some of these others. They don't seem to be getting the massive institutional adoption. And the bleeding that we saw in them, even though percentage-wise it might have been similar, you saw a lot of these coins drop to prices we have not seen in over a year and some change. This is going to continue to cause some concern for these coins moving forward. I'm not telling you not to hold it. I own Caspa. I own AVAX. I own Injective. But these are coins that I'm seriously looking at lowering my position in, not just because they're low right now, but because clearly the institutions were not as impressed with them early on in Trump's presidency. I don't know if that's going to change in the rest of the bull market. I think they're going to pump. I just don't think they pump anywhere near as much as some of these coins like Solana that have massive pump, Chainlink, ONDO, Cardano, XRP, HBAR, SUI. We're going to look at these more in depth later. That wasn't all the TA I'm doing. I'm just saying these coins didn't even come close to November 5th prices. And the reason for that is because institutions love them and they love buying them. So let's go back into the news. But that's my thoughts about Ethereum and those coins we mentioned last week, T-Shirt.
Very good, Tim. Very good. All right. Back on my screen is the problem. And tariffs are the solution, according to Donald Trump. And I asked you all this week, are you confident in your portfolio now that Trump has announced tariffs? I asked you all this at T-Shroom. 60.4, said yes, that they are confident in their portfolio. So that's great. That's great to hear. It sounds like you all have a good allocation of Bitcoin, which is disproportionately, been buoyed during this pullback, and now is pumping forward. So let's get into it. What is the latest with the tariffs, and what can we expect going forward? This is considered to be a huge win, what I'm about to read. So let's get into it. President Donald Trump, maybe you've heard of him, said he reached an agreement with Mexico to pause U.S. tariffs for 1 month in exchange for Mexico's deploying 10,000 troops on its northern border, the Mexican border, to stop the flow of drugs and enforce broader security. So this is a big win for the Trump administration, who is using these tariffs, a tool that hasn't really been used a whole lot in recent memory of the United States. And he's trying to leverage that tool to get what he wants. What does he want? What he wants what the people who voted for him want: to be healthy, to not die of fentanyl overdoses, and to have a secure border. Your opinions are your own. Our opinions are our own. This is just what's happening on the ground. This is what is affecting markets. This is how the market is perceiving what is coming out of the White House. And ultimately, this is a win, right? Regardless of what you want the tariffs outcomes to be, this is a win because the Trump administration is showing that they can leverage the tools of the government in order to get the desired outcome. So that's a win, right? But then there's this. President Trump signs executive order to create a sovereign wealth fund. That's another big win. Another headline that we saw today is actually back in the tariff category, which is a threat of a potential 10% tariff on our friends in Europe, the EU. Okay, so in the same breath, Donald Trump is seeing a W from Mexico. He's right now, as we're live, on a call with Justin Trudeau to work out a deal to hopefully pause the 25% tariff on Canada, and at the same time, he's showing the next chapter of what is to come, which is more tariffs. He also mentioned an increase in the 10% existing tariff on China. Tariff. It's the tariff week, right? That's what's going on here. But it's dynamic. We're not exactly sure how it's going to go. This is why you're seeing some pullback in risk markets on the equity side and certainly on crypto. But Tim, I want to throw it to you. Is the market seeing clearly here? Are they digesting the tariff trade appropriately? Is the market repricing equities and crypto potentially incorrectly in reaction to what we've seen out of the White House recently?
Yeah, I'm glad we're pausing here for a second, because this is something we're talking about. This massive crash that happened over the weekend. We're talking about the gnarly wicks that are in play, and I think the very easy thing to blame it on is the tariffs. And I'm not saying the tariffs were not involved, but bear with me as I say this. If you're blaming the tariff situation, the trade war, as the reason why crypto crashed, why prices pulled back, you're wrong. The tariffs are not the reason why crypto crashed. And the reason for that is, if you go back to COVID, No one predicted COVID. I'm sure there was somebody out there who knew things early and was trying to warn people. Their voice was not clearly heard. The masses were not aware that a virus of COVID's magnitude would hit the world and do what it did, right? So that was what we call a black swan event. Markets plummeted because of the unknown of what that would bring. This was not a black swan event. Trump has been talking for a very long time about tariffs. He has hinted at Canadian and Mexican tariffs for a very long time now. He's been talking about it for the last couple of months. So this should not have surprised anyone. What this was Bitcoin was sitting at a very high price. Crypto was sitting at very high prices. And the whales and institutions, they wanted a dip. They wanted to buy cheaper. They believe in this long term. They wanted to have lower prices, but they need an excuse. And there's always two types of excuses they can use. Number one, they can fabricate a story, right? They can make up details, put them in the newspapers that they own, scare retail, and create their crash, bring it back down and buy. But what also is really cool is when there's a story of coincidence that they can take advantage of. And the tariffs were way too easy to use as manipulation. Now, what they could do is they can use their media that they control to promote FUD, to scare people as if tariffs are the worst thing ever. All the while, though, they know as well as anybody else that Donald Trump in America holds a lot of power with these tariffs. They understand that it was only a matter of time before Mexico folded. It's only a matter of time before Canada folds. You got to give Trudeau some respect. He's fighting the fight. He's refusing to step down. But I gave an analogy earlier. I was talking with the group this morning. Trudeau putting tariffs on the United States would be like me fighting with my son Brody, who's not even 2 years old yet, and he's punching my kneecap. His fist will break long before my kneecap breaks, right? That is what Trudeau is doing with trying to fight back against the United States on this situation. He cannot, he will not, he shall not win. What he can do is screw over the country of Canada in the process. And here's what I'll say. That is what the sad thing is right now. For lack of a better way to put it, Donald Trump and Justin Trudeau are in a pissing match. And unfortunately, the people in Canada and the United States, but worse in Canada, are in the middle of all this. And they're sitting here reaping the downsides of two very, very stubborn men, Donald Trump and Justin Trudeau. The difference is Donald Trump holds all the cards. It is a matter of time before Canada stands down. Even though China is more heavily balanced with the United States, I think it's a matter of time before China stands down. Donald Trump is leveraging these tariffs to get what he wants, and I do believe he's going to get it. But that doesn't fit the narrative. It doesn't help the markets to crash to say, guys, these tariffs, they're just a threat. It's going to blow over. Everything's going to be okay. They need to pump fear, crash those markets down just like they did. They get to buy the dip. And you want the proof? We talked about it earlier. If you guys missed it, look at the exact bottom of the Bitcoin and crypto pullback. It happened last night at 9:30 p.m. What was it, 9:30 p.m.? China markets opened. Then, after a small correction, we started pumping dramatically at what time? 9:30 a.m. this morning. What's 9:30 a.m. this morning? The American markets opened. That is the proof right there that this whole crash, this whole pullback that happened, that's blaming the tariff news, was a manipulated, called for action that was used as a coincidence so that rich people could buy cheap cryptocurrency before it's too late. Guys, I say this a lot. I've said it more recently. When retail misses the boat, it just sucks. When you miss out on the dip, there's nobody there fighting for you. But when institutions miss the dip, they always find a way to bring the dip back. And with recent remarks from the FOMC meeting being very bullish, and we had a nice pump in action, there's probably a lot of people, a lot of wealthy people who said, you know what? I want to buy crypto now. I want to buy even cheaper stocks too. Let's create a scenario. We can drop this price down. We'll go buy the dips when it's open. That's exactly what we just saw happen within the last 24 hours. You don't believe me? Go look at the charts for yourself. Also, go back and study the history of market crashes. Find the news story that was spread with FUD, and then watch conveniently as we are bottoming out. Oh, no, never mind. That's not a problem. Happened in August, guys. Remember when Japan was crumbling and the whole global economy was going to crash back in August? So we plummeted back down to $49,000. And then magically, as the dip got bought up, oh, never mind. Everything's good. Asia's good. The world's good. No problem. That's called FUD, ladies and gentlemen. That's called manipulation. Be prepared for it because it happens, and it will happen again, I believe, in the near future. So be prepared.
Yep. Absolutely. We have a couple of comments kind of showing that you all get this. The bros understand. Michael Corleone said from 1870 to 1913, the system was based on a tariff-based system. Then in 1913, we went to an income tax system. Thanks, guys, for bringing the alpha. I believe 1913 was also the first year of the Federal Reserve. I could be wrong about that. And then Redline said tariffs was the excuse. They needed a narrative to dump it. It does appear as though that is correct, considering how quickly these assets got bought back up. Yeah. So back on my screen here. Let's continue because there's a little bit more news. But that's where you can disagree or not, right? Were the tariffs an excuse, or are they real, or are they really sending fear into the big institutions which are selling off and running into bonds and gold and real estate? That's up to you as an investor, as a trader, to try to figure that out. We kind of have the position here that the tariffs, they're real. They're not fake. It's not fake news, but are they really the reason why we saw an 18% sell-off in Ethereum? Is there something deeper going on? The market is a mechanism for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. That is the way that it has always worked in markets. We have some positive news here from Coinbase getting a regulatory approval to launch Bitcoin and crypto services in the UK. Coinbase quietly building in the chaos as usual. And finally, President Trump signs executive order to create a sovereign wealth fund. Now, what is a sovereign wealth fund, you might be wondering? It is a state-owned investment fund used to benefit the country's economy and citizens. The U.S. does not have one, and it looks like now they will under this executive order. This brings us to what could potentially be announced tomorrow, maybe a Bitcoin reserve. Maybe Bitcoin finds its way into this sovereign wealth fund. We'll be covering it live tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is the press conference from the crypto czar, David Sachs. Again, he'll be going live at 2:30, but we'll be going live at 2 p.m. Join us. We'll be previewing the event, and then we'll be bringing it to you all live here on Twitter and on YouTube. Make sure you remember to join us for that. It's going to be great. It's going to be the best live stream on YouTube at that time. So make sure you tune in there. Well, that is going to be the end of the news here. I think we've got some folks who are eager to see their favorite altcoin charted out.
Absolutely. Guys, if you're enjoying the show, make sure to smash that like button. Right now, we have 1,300 people here in YouTube with only 342 likes. Smash that like up. We're almost at 300 people over on X. Thank you so much for tuning on X every single day. We want to see more and more of you guys. We got links coming soon. If you ever see anything we're talking about, we'll have a link tree over there in X. But if you want to jump over here into YouTube and click on links in the description down below, feel free to do so. Let's go look at some different technical analysis. Let's go into some altcoins. I kind of mentioned this just a couple of minutes ago, but a lot of these altcoins have very interesting pullback situations, pullback spots that we're dealing with here. This is Solana. Of course, Solana hit a new all-time high here in January, even though it had a great December as well. It went even higher in January, mostly to do, I would say, the big catalyst was the launch of Trump and Melania tokens. But it pulled back down to levels it had just seen in January on the 13th. In that same area, though, let's take a look over here. Let's use Fibonacci and take a look at what's happening here. We pulled back kind of conveniently right into that 0.5. The pullback over here is to the golden pocket, but kind of that nice area right there close to the golden pocket. That is a serious pullback for sure. While the volume wasn't necessarily as high as the volume over here at the top, you do see this nice spike in volume along with that big wick right there. And again, hitting a former support level is pretty much what we saw happen right here. Great news for Solana holders. Right now, we are still in the process of solidifying, but we have a 4-hour buy signal officially going. I told you earlier, there was a lot of fake outs with buy signals over the weekend on lower time frames, like the 15-minute, the 10-minute, and so on and so forth. You can see all these buy signals, but these weren't really triggered. This is one, though, consistently, we have not seen a failed 4 hours buy signal falter here. So watch for this to start bringing a lot of buying pressure into higher levels. This is calling for Solana at least to come a little bit higher, back up to 220. But now we're going to start being on the watching radar. What about these other time frames, like a 12-hour, like a daily? You can see the signs on the 12-hour starting to turn. MACD is looking bullish again. RSI starting to curve to the upside. We have a green reversal. We're waiting on a green momentum dot and a positive money flow. But if that starts to happen, all of a sudden we're talking about back up towards 250. And it's only a matter of time before we get into the spot of looking for a rebuy on the weekly chart. Guess what happened on the weekly chart? Sell signal, bearish divergence, absolutely. But we pulled back. Look at this, perfectly into that weekly smart trail. Once again, great support level from Lux Algo, and now it looks like it wants to move back towards the upside. So that's what we're looking there on Solana. Let's check out some other things here as well. And I don't really know. I think I want to do more macro stuff. We can do a couple short-term things, but I want to focus more on the macro here. You can see weekly chart, smart trail, bounce to the bottom level of it, bounce right back up. That's a beautiful sign right there. If you go back and look at Fibonacci from this November 5th spot, we had a nice bounce pretty much perfectly off of the golden pocket retracement. If you guys don't know Fibonacci, we teach this in our Bros Academy. There's actually a video that just came out recently teaching what this is. But ultimately, what you need to know here, golden pockets are significant pullback spots. It's where the price shot up dramatically and it pulls back to a calculated support level. That's exactly where Chainlink bounced. And like we said, massive wick coming in here. While it doesn't look like there's a lot of volume on the weekly chart, you come into things like the 4-hour chart. Big volume kind of showing that bottom. And I told people on the show yesterday that I thought a very good spot to bounce was going to be here in the $18, $17 range. While we did wick down to $15.50, notice on a time like the 4-hour chart, give or take, we actually closed candles in that world of $18.20. That level was a very significant level based off of this long-term former resistance turn support level, but it does look like, with the exception of a gnarly wick, again, word of the day is the wick, we are holding this green line as support, and it's a perfect level to come back, bounce, and then run back to the upside here on Chainlink. Some things we're watching here, while the daily chart has not yet printed a buy signal, we are seeing buy signals on, guess what, 4-hour chart here, green reversal, bullish momentum, positive money flow right there. This was calling for a move just a little bit higher here, at least back up to 2260, maybe up here towards 2370 in the short term. But again, it's only a matter of time before we start seeing 12 hours and higher get buy signals. Those should send us back up above $24 in the not so distant future. That's what we're looking at here on Chainlink. Let's keep going on. Let's talk about two coins that are carrying space right now. I'm going to slow down on this one. ONDO, very impressive. Very impressive stuff happened here on ONDO. Let's turn off Lux Algo for a second. I want to show you guys last night. We're looking at the 5-minute chart right here. The dip happened. Again, this is as the Asian markets are opening, and ONDO shot up like a bottle rocket. In only like 20 minutes, ONDO popped off. From being down here at $1, that was the bottom, it shot all the way back up to $1.30 in 20 minutes. Now, it did cool off. It did start to move sideways, but somebody, I bought around 102, pretty darn close to the bottom, but somebody put a lot of money into ONDO last night around 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when the Asian markets were getting going. It's continued that rally here today. Of course, this morning, 9:30, American markets opened. ONDO has taken off. It did reject on this blue line here. Let's kind of zoom out for a second. It did reject on this blue line right here on 144. I wonder what that line is. I think that was a line I had for a former trading spot. That's not any significant level of support or resistance. Let's take a look here. What's happening? Buy signal coming in on the 4-hour chart. The smart trail for it, that's what we're bouncing on right now. The more important line that we're actually working on is a former support level. See this green line that's ascending. Let me turn this off for a second. This green line had been a very strong uptrending level of support. Of course, back here on Saturday, we lost that level. Now we're back above it. And even with this small pullback that's in effect, can we turn this green line back into a support level? That is what we're looking at for ONDO. But zooming out, this is a coin I showed you earlier. Nowhere close to the November lows. Look at this pullback. It didn't even go all the way to the golden pocket. It mostly came here to the 0.5 level. But big sign to me that ONDO is a necessity, that institutions love this coin. They couldn't have the power to even take it back to where we just were in November. They bought that dip up extremely fast. If you guys watched a price prediction video we did on it just a week or two ago, none of my price predictions at this point are changing. If you guys are anyone's wondering, Tim, after this dip, are you giving up on the price predictions? Not at all. In fact, this is a sign that these are getting even stronger, I do believe. A great shakeout right there. That's going to see a pump coming very soon. I still believe $9 a floor for ONDO. I still believe $22 is a realistic target. And hey, in a crazy scenario, $45 potentially, although I'm not betting on that. It's crazy, though, is now we talk about this potentially being a 20x coin. If you bought anywhere close to the dip around $1, now all of a sudden we're talking about a 20x easily. I think this was a 10 to 20x, excuse me, a 20x easily, and a high case scenario somewhere in the world of 42x. Bare minimum, I still see this as like an 8-9x for people whatsoever. I see Stocks with Josh is in chat, and he has a question about ONDO. First of all, shout out to Stocks with Josh. If you're not following him, you made a big mistake with who you follow. Hey, Tim, ONDO is a big position for me. Well, that makes sense because Josh is a really smart guy, so I would imagine he's buying a lot of ONDO. I love what I'm seeing here on this chart, on this pullback. Again, we talked about the support level yesterday morning, or yesterday afternoon, I guess, we the show. I said $1.14 would be interesting. Yeah, we wicked down lower, but take a look at where a lot of these 4-hour candles closed. Right there at just below $1.13, but right there in that green line, that $1.13, $1.14 area we talked about yesterday. Yes, this is a crazy wick to the downside. Again, word of the day, wicks. But the TA kind of is holding up still. This was a massive support level. And don't underestimate, I talked about this morning with our private group. Massive volume with big wicks. That is a combination of a reversal pattern. If you see a massive volume with a wick to the upside, like back in here, that's reversal to the downside pattern. But when you see a large lower wick and high volume come in, what that communicated is that while we were under a heavy selling pressure, we got to a certain point where we dropped all the way down here and then everything flipped. And instead of the sellers being in the lead, all of a sudden the buyers took over and shot the price back up. So don't ever ignore that on any time frame if you're out here trading. But ONDO looking very, very good. I'll say this. I would love to see a higher high come back in. I'd love to see it get back above $1.66. Again, 4-hour chart. We had that buy signal. We've hit that resistance level. But if we can get a move and a buy signal maybe up here closer towards the 12-hour, we're looking at $1.52. What about the daily? How high do we have to get a wick back up there? There we go. We need to get a buy signal on the daily chart, which, to be fair, we have this one that hasn't gone away just yet. We just need another bullish trigger, and we could be back on our way to heading back up above $1.66 on ONDO. But there's that. That's what the charts are looking like for ONDO. There's so many coins. Look at SUI. SUI also had a nice spike back up here today. Again, massive wick, massive candle. Stay bullish, everybody here. 4-hour buy signal, just clean cut, green reversal, bullish momentum, positive money flow. Short term, we've hit that target. If we can start getting buy signals on the 12-hour daily, we're talking about getting back up to about 425, which is a trend that we've been tracking here since pretty much the beginning of SUI. A level of resistance that we did break back above, but now we're below. Let's see if we can get it back above that line and turn bullish again. That's going to be a big line in the sand for the bulls being fully back in control. But this is another coin. Take a look here, everybody. We go back to the lows around November 5th. Let's take a look here at November 5th. And go, I hit the wrong tool. Fibonacci is what I want here. There we go. November 5th lows up to the high. A little bit lower than the golden pocket. If you actually go to the lows of October 28th, we hit that golden pocket. So a very good Fibonacci retracement tool there as well. I used a lot of these for some of the dips that I bought last night, SUI being one of them. I did buy here. I front ran it a little bit. I went 260. But 260 was a great buy spot there for everybody. If you did get anywhere in that world, and again, like I said, gnarly wicks, big volume. That's a big reversal sign if I've ever seen one. All right, let's take a break here from TA. I went through a whole lot there. Probably do some Q&A technical analysis if we get the chance here. Let's read chat. Gilberto said, I loaded up on ONDO and link on Josh's buy signals. Freaking A, man, you did it again. Absolutely. Again, if you guys don't follow Stocks with Josh, that's another YouTube channel you absolutely should be doing. I think later this week, Wednesday or something, Josh and I are going to do some more collabs together. So look forward to that as well. Steve said, thanks for speaking truth of this tariff boogeyman. You're gaining major respect. Steve, thank you for the comment. I'll tell you this. We're going to speak truth no matter what. That's who we are as people. We run our YouTube channel. We really do try to find we want you guys to want to watch our channel. We want to tell you things that will make you happy, but I would never lie for the sake of telling you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you the truth. You can take that truth as an insult. You can take that truth as love. I choose to look at people that tell me the truth as loving people. I'm always going to do the best I can to speak truth, even when we have to talk about topics that are not so comfortable. Let's see. Liquidation is building up to 97,000 and lower. All these shorts are gone, says Stan. Liquidation is building up to 97 and lower. All these. Oh, okay. Let's take a look at what he's saying here. All right. So he's talking about liquidation levels. Let's turn on our liquidation indicator here with Bitcoin. Yeah. I mean, just take a look at everything. Look at all these liquidations we took out with this massive crash. These are all the liquidations we took out. Now we've eliminated all of them. I like these big targets to the upside myself, coming back up here towards 108 or so. If you go to the 1 hour, I think it's going to turn yellow on us. Let's look at the 1 hour here. Yeah. You got some yellow coming in here around 108. These are the targets that people are going to be starting to go back towards. Don't discredit small pullbacks. In fact, I'm not saying this is going to happen, because in the same way, this bearish trend right here, we just couldn't get a breath of fresh air from any bulls. But now that we're breaking back through resistance levels, we've broken back here. I wouldn't be surprised for Bitcoin to retrace back towards $100,000 whatsoever and recapture that as support. If you start to look at some different signs, I'm pretty sure as you come down towards lower time frames, we're going to find a smart trail in that camp as well. 15 minutes heading there for sure. Let's get the 10 minute. Yeah, it's getting there for sure. Let's start to see if there's any lower. Yeah. All right. So look at this 10-minute chart. Red reversal, bearish momentum, excessive buyers, and a bubble being built here. Now, this is only the 10-minute chart. So I'm not saying we're about to lose all the gains we made today, but this is a sign that we're overextended, and a little correction back down towards the smart trail would be very healthy. That smart trail is coming in here right around that red line, right around $100,000. So don't you think that just because we're rallying right now, that if we have any type of a pullback whatsoever, that means this rally is over? No. Look at, even if I were to come in here towards let's go to the 5-minute chart. Look at the blue candles that have come in all this time with this move. I mean, this 5-minute smart trail. Look at how we captured it again here this morning around 120, and we have not given it back up, but we've bounced on it 1, 2, almost 3 times. I wouldn't be surprised to see that be the first touch. It comes down to here towards 108, but we're seeing that bubble being formed on the 10-minute chart with the oscillators. The MACD's overextended, the RSI's overextended, the excessive buyers are starting to leave. Don't be surprised to see a pullback. Guess what? The last time we saw this happen, look at here. Last time we saw the excessive buyers come in, the bubble, guess what happened? Right in here, we pulled back to the smart trail, briefly lost it for a second, and then rallied to the upside. That's what I'm thinking. A pullback to 100K would make a lot of sense. And I bet you, just even looking at this stuff, yeah, a nice mode of liquidation. There's some longs built up right there on 100,500. It would make sense. Just come down, correct, clear those out, and then make a bounce on support and continue the upside, liquidating more shorts to the upside. All right. You can go off my screen now, Smay. Thank you for that. Let's do we have any other super chats in here? Allison Ray with the super chat, but didn't say anything. Any other chats you've seen, T-Shroom, before we kind of get into our factoid of the day?
Yeah, I mean, I thought this one was pretty good from Mark Rowe. He said 2 weekends in a row we had manufactured dumps, first DeepSeek, and now tariffs. Composite man strikes again. The composite man is working overtime, Tim. He's working overtime to try to steal your bags of crypto. And so,
I said this morning. This is a good response here, and then I think this question, we're going to do the factoid of the day here. But here's what I do want people to know. A belief system that I now have. I believe that what we have witnessed, especially over the last 2 weeks, but there's a lot of things kind of compiling into this, last couple of months, really. I think the 4-year cycle is officially dead. Anyone who's trying to invest based off the 4-year cycle, I want to let you know we are seeing some things that say it's dead. Let me show you really quickly. If you go to the Bitcoin chart, let's go back to my chart here. The pattern that people are used to, so drawn here. The pattern that people are used to, you go back to the bear market bottoms. We'll look at the last two. What people are used to when they're thinking 4-year cycle is from the bear market bottom, we usually have an altcoin season that starts somewhere around the world of 100, 105 weeks from the bear market bottom. All right. So you look here, 107 weeks after the bear market bottom in 2021, we started altcoin season. Then roughly sometime in the world of 120, 125 weeks, we have a local top that has a pretty significant pullback. And then somewhere in the world of 150 weeks is the bull market top, right? This is part of the 4-year cycle trajectory, right? That's how 2021 played out. If I were to come back over here and take a look at how 2017's bull market played out, let me show you. Bear market bottom. I know we double bottomed here, but bear market bottom's right here. Altcoin season started in February of 17. How many weeks is that? 109. Very close. So altcoin season starts. Then we have a nice little pullback. Guess when? A local top, 125 weeks. And then when was the top of the market? 151 weeks, 152 weeks. So the overall point here is if the 4-year cycle and the way people are trading this would have played out this cycle, what you would have expected was altcoin season should have started around 108, should have started here in the first week of December. It did not. Clearly, it did not. By that information, though, I think people are going to think, hey, somewhere here, March, April, we're going to have a local top. Maybe we'll be around 150,000. I don't think it's going to happen. And even then, you go to the 150s, people are thinking, okay, top of the market, going to be somewhere in the world of September, October, 150 weeks. I don't think it's going to happen. And the reason why, again, this is what we just saw happen with altcoin season. People were convinced, myself included, I'm not trying to blame other people. People were convinced that altcoin season was going to start here in December or at least by January. It did not start. Bitcoin dominance has taken off. What does this mean? It means institutions who understand how you as a retail investor think, they're not going to let things play out the way you think that they should play out. So for that reason, I'm going to expect the top. Instead of seeing a March, April top, I'm actually going to be expecting a top either a little earlier than that, so like early March, maybe end of February, or late, and they're not going to top out, and we're just going to shoot through it. I don't expect September, October to be the top of the bull market whatsoever. I think that what we're looking at and how Bitcoin has responded, we have this consistent pattern that people think the timeline is going to continue. It's not how it continues. Now, Redline, you're saying, nope, check total 3. Total 3, if you look at this, the total 3, the altcoin season really got going in January. I don't know what I'm looking at for total 3 here necessarily. Also, total 3 doesn't go back all the way into 2017 bull market. So not
Tim,
quite sure what that means.
Tim, there was a good chat here that Smay is pointing out. It missed me, but it didn't miss Smay, and not much does. This is from Brock Palazzi. He says, "Hey brother, this is my first cycle, and I have a rather small portfolio, about $25,000. Would this be something you would do a review for people with small accounts?"
Yeah. So speaking of same thing, someone just commented 3No Eagle, I think. New to crypto here, or Eno Eagle. I don't know what that means. Any suggestion other than diversifying into 5 assets? Any suggestion other than diversifying into 5 assets? I don't know if I'd go all in on one coin, but going back to the question that was asked back by Brock Palsy. Yeah, I absolutely. I think the next one we're going to, excuse me, I have hiccups. I think the next one we're going to do for portfolio review is going to be a smaller one, but also we're going to be, I don't know when I'm going to put it out. I'm going to work on making this video probably soon, but we're going to drop a video soon on what I would do if I had $10,000. So 10,000, a little less than half than 25,000. But how would I spend $10,000 if that was all of my crypto? Not everybody has $100,000, $1 million. Like some people have larger portfolios, but for anyone who maybe says, I have $10,000, how would I invest this now for building a long-term portfolio? We're not going to go heavy in Bitcoin. We're not going to go heavy in Ethereum. we have a little clue here. I'm not going to go heavy in Solana or XRP either because these are already large coins. I'm going to make a video that says if I had $10,000, what coins would I invest in? How much would I put into which ones? And what would be my expected outcome of that portfolio? We will be making a video on that soon, just as a creation. But
And yeah.
Big Vision says, be realistic, do 2.5K. Do the math. You can change things around. I'm not going to. 2.5K would work for my scenario as well.
And really quick, anybody who is just getting started in crypto, perhaps investing in general, we actually have what's called a BroLux membership. This is where we kind of hold your hand to get started in investing and trading. You can access that by going down to the link below and signing up for the tier of membership that makes the most sense for you. That link is going to be right under where it says Free Bros. It's the second link in our description. And if you're not ready to make that commitment just yet, you don't think you're going to be trading enough to make it worth it, we have a free Discord. So go ahead and jump on into that free Discord and get news and alerts about things that are moving the market and awesome events that are happening in the Investing Bros ecosystem. Again, if you're just getting started in crypto and investing, welcome. You're in the right place. There's a lot of sketchy stuff going out there in crypto especially. So make sure you are part of a community. And even if you just hang out with us on YouTube every day at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that's cool enough. But we do have another layer deeper, and it's called Discord. We'd love for you to join us there as well.
Yeah. Type Bros Academy if you are one of our. Let's just say Bros. Just say Bros. 4 letters. If you are in our memberships on Discord, type Bros in chat right now so people can see who all is in there. Let's go ahead. While we're doing that, let's go ahead and get into our factoid of the day, and we'll probably call it a day on today's stream. Smay. Oh my gosh.
I'm here. Listen, I had to be on brand for that. This is what people are feeling. The layer deeper. I mean, obviously crypto has been all over the place, but the layer deeper in people's hearts is what the heck is going on with Luka Doncic and what are his unusual hobbies. And so we're going to go ahead and dive into this Factoid Day. But before I do that, I want to let you know that the Factoid Day is brought to you by decrypted.tax. It is now tax season. So make sure you guys take advantage of this resource we're giving you right now, so that you guys can get your taxes done the right way. Now, with that, let's go ahead and dive right on into this. We have Luka Doncic. Which unusual hobby does Luka Doncic enjoy in his spare time? A, I guess the elf has been stalking him. We don't know. A, competitive origami. B, underwater basket weaving. C, vintage typewriter repair. Or D, falconry. By the way, this is the most insane list of options, and the fact that one of these is true is insane to me.
I'll tell you, only one of them really makes sense, because underwater basket weaving, that is that age-old, like, default, like, oh, you're bored, pick up a hobby like underwater basket weaving. I feel like that's what my mom told me 100 times growing up. I would love for C to be the right answer. If I'm not going to go with C, but there's a part of me that is rooting for C to be the right answer.
I think it's
falconry. Falconry's too cool. No, I don't. I think it's A. I think it's competitive origami.
I will say I was genuinely surprised when I found the answer, and that's as much of a hint as that you're going to get.
Yeah, I think competitive origami. I think falconry is Charles Hoskinson's side hobby.
Delta.
I'm going A, competitive origami.
All right, let's see who's right.
All right, and with that, drum roll, drum roll, drum roll. It is.
Let's go.
Wow.
It's falconry. And I was like, wow.
He's a man.
Have I ever seen, because I follow him on social media. And I'm like, I have not seen anything about him falconrying, but I suppose.
Because he doesn't have to flex, Smay.
But, I mean.
He just is a falconry guy.
Falconry is really cool, and so that's awesome. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for participating. Yeah. Back to you.
T-Stream, you're on a roll with these. I have not been doing well here with these recently.
I'm just really intelligent, I think, is what a lot of people are realizing. So
I wonder if him and Charles Hoskinson would be good friends now. Listen, in poll right now in chat, is Luka Doncic a Cardano fan just because of his shared hobby with Charles Hoskinson? Let me know.
By the way, for those of you watching outside of the US and don't care about the National Basketball Association, NBA, Luka Doncic is a very good basketball player who just got traded to the team that LeBron James is on in California.
Pull the picture back up. Pull the.
This?
Is that a falcon on his arm? Someone's saying there's a falcon on his arm. I did not see that as a falcon.
That looks like planets and a fire.
Yeah, I did not see that, but I wanted to make sure I just didn't oversee that.
Well, if you look into his eyes,
that would be funny. That would be funny if that was a falcon on his arm, and then that was the question.
Well, but I do have breaking news, guys. Breaking news is I Googled Luka Doncic falconry hobby, and I think that generally the elf just led us astray. There is actually not a single thing about him doing falconry on the internet. So the elf really just might have made that all up. And so if that's the case, guys, that was a real wild factoid of the day. I'm gobsmacked.
Came to the rumor of the day. Now, T-Shroom, or T-Shroom Smade, you know that now there's going to be rumors all over the internet that secretly Luka Doncic is rumor
of the day, guys. I want everybody to right now to go on X and start tweeting about. I want this to actually become a thing. Start tweeting this like him being traded had something to do with his falconry hobby, and it was taking too much of his time.
Yeah,
spread that rumor. This is gonna be great. It's gonna be why he was gaining weight.
Out of here.
Everything, dude. Just do that. He's spending too much money on it. All right. Anyways, back to you guys.
There we go. All right, guys. That is going to wrap up today's show. A nice, fun one, guys. Crypto is pumping. Buy dips. That's I'll tell you guys. If there's any advice we can leave you with to end is it's not time to sell. Buy any dip you can. If you don't have any money left over, guess what? Just hodl. Hodl is as good as buying because the more you're in the market, the longer you're in the market, the more benefits, the more profits you're going to make. I know things like this weekend were painful. I'm not trying to discredit anybody's pain or confusion or chaos. What I'm telling you is sometimes it's good to back up. Before you freak out, zoom out. Remember your history. Study your history. Invest in your education on how to treat and trade markets. And you know what? Get yourself into a community with people who can encourage you and help you think through the different things that happen so that you don't freak out, FUD out, and sell all your bags way too soon. The Bros are the perfect community for you. Go sign up with that Discord link down below right now. With that said, love you guys. See you tomorrow, same time. Not same time, 2 o'clock, 2 p.m. tomorrow. See you then. Adios.